Hello, hello, hello. Let's do this. This is the first time. This is our first, I don't know, weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly. I don't know what it is yet. I just want to get the feedback from you all. Okay. I'm excited to talk to you all about the Herpes Anonymous, live anonymous questions. Before we get into that, let me just tap the screen to say welcome, welcome, welcome to all the people that are here. Let's just give it a few minutes to let people jump on. Yesterday we had thousands of people on our live, so that was super fun to see you all on our live. And so many great questions. One of the reasons why I'm doing the Herpes Anonymous, which is going to be today and answering those questions today, is I started looking at the types of questions you guys were asking me and versus the types of questions I get on one-on-one calls or I get in our support group. And when I talk to you either in an emergency call and in a support group, or I talk to you in our support group, they're deep personal questions about, how do I deal with my boyfriend? How do I deal with my girlfriend? How do I get over the resentment I have towards my boyfriend? How do I get over the concern that my girlfriend will cheat on me? How do I get so deep stuff that's all related to herpes? And I really want to be able to support you with that. The idea is the transformation. There's a huge transformation that occurs when we start to address and look at some of the anxiety type of concerns we have, or looking at those deep rooted beliefs. So anyways, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please feel free to, if you do have a question, you can definitely go to the Herpes Live question and ask it. Other than that, I'm going to go through and start asking them. If you're on the live and if I answer one of your questions, just know that you'll also get a personal email that will have the timestamp of your question. So I think this is kind of a fun thing. Let me know in the comments, you guys, if you think this is a fun thing, if you think this is something we want to continue. Here's where you can send your question. My ex-boyfriend has herpes because I gave it to him, or whatever. Please share this information with your whoever it is that you love. I've been talking publicly about my diagnosis since 2017. I was diagnosed with HSV in 2011, and I've been speaking publicly about it since 2017. So the reason why I created Life with Herpes was because I felt so alone when I was diagnosed. I felt so isolated. I felt so distraught. I felt so crushed that is why I created this, so that people don't feel that way. I don't want people to go through life being diagnosed with herpes the same way I was diagnosed. Well, we're all diagnosed the same, but I don't want you to stay in your Eeyore phase like I did for way, way, way too long. All right, thanks for the hearts. Thank you for the shares. Let's get right to it. Let's get to the Herpes Anonymous. Okay, this is from Ellie. Ellie is saying, my boyfriend was just diagnosed with herpes and I want to educate myself about it. What steps can we take to ensure a healthy, supportive relationship moving forward? Also, do you think he cheated on me and that is how he got it? Okay. What do you all think? I'd love to hear in the comments. What do you all think? What is your best, if you guys were thinking, what is the best way to prevent transmission? I'd love to hear in the comments and things like that. Okay, so according to Ellie, so her boyfriend was diagnosed with herpes. All right, so it sounds like, Ellie, you're in a relationship. It sounds like you're exclusive. I'm not sure, you didn't clarify. And well, if you're asking if he cheated on you, then I'm assuming it's exclusive. You're concerned. Wait. What steps can we take to ensure a healthy? Okay. So a couple of things, Ellie, I want to clarify. Is a lot of times we think that, oh my gosh, I mean, so Herpes transmission most of the time is 2 to 12 days. So like if you sleep with somebody, usually you're gonna have your first outbreak within the first couple of days, within the first 2 weeks. However, this is the weird thing about herpes. This is kind of the like silent elephant in the room, or the silent, I don't know, like carbon monoxide in a relationship, is you can pick up herpes really any time in your life, never have an outbreak, never show signs or symptoms, never have any of this, and then get your first outbreak. So for example, Ellie, I had somebody I did an emergency call with. He just became a new dad. He'd been with his wife for 15 years. And he's like, I don't know where this came from. I've never had an affair. I've never cheated on my wife. I'm super stressed out because I just became a new dad. How is it that I just got this outbreak? And so it may be very similar to your boyfriend and your potential situation. Your boyfriend may have picked it up prior to you and not known that he had it. This is unfortunately very common in how most relationships, this is like how a lot of times it gets transmitted. So here's how you would know you have herpes. So like, let's back up. How do you know you have herpes? Well, if you went and got tested. So what may have happened in your relationship, I'm not sure, Ellie, but you guys may have gotten tested and may have said, okay, let's go get tested. If you did not specifically ask for a herpes test, if you didn't ask for HSV1 or HSV2, then you may not have even been tested for it ever in your life and may not know. So I'm thinking about your specific situation with your boyfriend. He probably didn't know he had it. And no, it doesn't mean that he's cheating on you. Here's what I would do. I would have a deep conversation with him. I'd kind of open it like this and say something like this is, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about our sexual health. We don't have to say like, oh, let's go back. Like, who were you sleeping? Like, let's just talk about our sexual health. Here's where I was in my life. Like, were we getting tested? Did you ever get tested for herpes? Do you know if you've ever been tested for herpes? Can we go back and look? And just say like, hey, I know that this doesn't mean you've cheated on me. This doesn't mean anything, but let's talk about it. Let's understand what's happening. It's going to be up to you how you want to move forward in the relationship. Is this something that you can get through? Is it something that's going to hold you back? I talk to a lot of people who are potentially scared about it, and I totally understand that. You, Ellie, you need to decide if this is something you want to pursue. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm not saying break up with him because you have herpes. I'm not saying that. If you're saying like, you want to ensure a healthy and supportive relationship. Okay, so you want to pursue. Great. I think that's great. There's kind of like 3 ways to prevent transmission. Number 1 is going to be communicate. So the more and more and more you can communicate with your boyfriend is going to be the best thing. Communicate and say like, hey, how are you feeling? Hey, what's going on? Hey, I've done some of my own research. I learned that you can have asymptomatic shedding. Do you ever feel like you have symptoms? Do you ever feel like your immune system's worn down? Like when those things happen is an opportunity for the virus to transfer. The next thing that you can discuss is ways to prevent transmission. Do you want him to be on the antiviral? And that's something that you can do. Do you want your partner to be on the antiviral? If so, it's going to lessen the transmission, which is going to be a good thing, right? That's always a good thing, but it's not necessary. So I don't know if your partner actually has had an outbreak. We didn't specify here. So if he's never had an outbreak, who knows? Maybe he won't get another outbreak. So those are some important things here to look at. Has he had an outbreak before? The next thing, there are some things that you can do to boost your immune system, Ellie. I have lysine and monolaurin. It's linked. You can check it out if you're on the live right now. And it is the best way for your boyfriend, for your partner to help prevent outbreaks. So the lysine and monolaurin, the lysine is an essential amino acid. It helps prevent the replication of the HSV virus. So this is what I have linked right now. It helps prevent the replication of the HSV virus. And that's going to be really helpful, especially even if you are asymptomatic, even if you don't show symptoms, even if you don't have outbreaks, right? So this is going to be helpful. And then it's going to be mixed with the monolaurin, which is going to help us with the enveloped virus. HSV is an enveloped virus, which means it has a shell around it, which means that our immune system can't penetrate it. So by having monolaurin, it disrupts the outer layer of the enveloped virus. And so it can penetrate it and get through it. So this is something I would talk about. For you specifically that does not have herpes, I would look at doing everything you can to boost your immune system. So I'm going to show you the immune support that I have right here. So this is the immune support that is going to help you boost your immune system, right? So if you have herpes, don't have herpes, all of this is great. So let me tell you what's in it. It's all powerful stuff. We have vitamin C, we have vitamin D, we have vitamin E, we have vitamin B6, B12, zinc, and selenium. So zinc is really important if you have outbreaks. Vitamin Bs are always great. Vitamin C is great. Obviously, we know that. And then vitamin D is something that's going to be really helpful in fighting off viruses. Then we have lysine, which we just talked about. We have Asian ginseng root. We have astragalus root. We have echinacea, elderberry, garlic, green tea, olive leaf, and oregano. So all really powerful antiviral ingredients in here. So again, that's something I would talk about. So back to you, Ellie. What is the way that you can just have a supportive relationship? The more that you can communicate about what your boyfriend's going through, set some times, talk about it, ask questions. If you're on the live, you're more than welcome to ask questions here, specifically Ellie. Let me just go through. I just got so many questions, you guys. So today we're doing something totally different. We're doing herpes anonymous live questions. So if you do have a question, you can head on over. I pinned the link for you. It's bit.ly herpes live. It's capital H for herpes and capital L for live. We're going into your deep anonymous questions. These are the questions that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable asking on a live. So a lot of great stuff. On this. So that's what we're looking at today. And let me just make sure Ellie didn't ask a follow-up question. I know we're anonymous, and so I'm looking for Ellie, and I don't actually know if that's even your name. This is a great question that correlates with Ellie's question. Can you have herpes without an outbreak? My sister got her test results, and she was positive for HSV too. So yes, and that is probably what happened here with Ellie's boyfriend. Because he may or may not have outbreaks. Yeah, you can just get tested. Maybe you don't know you're getting tested. Maybe your doctor tested you, which is awesome if he or she did. And there's a lot of people that come back with positive results and really had no idea. Do I know the percentage rates of all Americans and people in the world? I don't know specifically global or US based. I just know 2 out of 3 people have HSV1 and 1 out of 6 have HSV2. Okay, friends, let's get on to the next question because I think these are all fun questions. Guys, if you have, Scarlett, if you have a pressing question, thanks for the shares. If you have a herpes anonymous question, please feel free to ask. My dog is sick right now. She has major diarrhea, and so I have to let her out. Okay, Scarlett, you just do your thing, girl. Poor dog. That's really gross. Sorry. Whew. Dog farts are the worst. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. This one is from John. Hi, I recently was dating a girl and she told me that she had herpes a week ago. Okay. I broke it off with her last night because I was really stressing both me and my body out. I still really care for the girl and can see her as a potential long-term partner. I'm thinking about reaching out to her, letting her know what I need is space to slow down physically. Okay. Thanks, John. Okay, John, here's a couple of things. So number one, this is awesome that you're able to know what it is that like you want. So meaning you're not leading her on, you're not like in it and just like pretending to go through the motions. And it obviously is something that you really care about. I want you to realize that this girl that you were dating or potentially dating, she really cares about you. So if she didn't care about you and if she wasn't doing the inner work and if she wasn't healing with her herpes diagnosis, then she probably wouldn't have disclosed. The reason why we don't disclose our herpes status is because we're in our trigger mode. We're in fight, flight, or freeze. Usually flight, meaning like we leave our body, not leave our body, but you know what I mean? Like we're not attached to our body. And so we're usually drowning it with drugs, alcohol, substances to help us cope, not actually heal. So the fact that she's able to have this conversation with you means that she really cares about you, means that she's somebody of integrity, and means that she wants to start off this foundation, this relationship with a healthy foundation. So that's something to think about. Okay. Show me she had herpes a week ago. Okay. Question to ask you, why is it stressing you out? Why is it stressing your body out? Is it because that you are, is it because that you're, so I'm just going to assume right now, you should never assume, but I'm just going to guess from things I've heard in the past. You're concerned that you're going to get herpes and you're concerned that she's not the one and you're concerned that if you then pick up herpes, are you going to be in her position going forward? I'm assuming that's what you're thinking and where that's a very valid concern. Something you need to look at is this girl somebody that you are like, wow? Is this girl somebody that you have rainbows and butterflies for? Is this girl somebody that you have magic for? And I would just look at those initial feelings first. Number one. Okay. And it sounds like you do. It sounds like you're saying like, yeah, I see her as a potential long-term partner. The next thing I would suggest, if you're like, I still feel like she's a long-term partner, is continue to educate yourself about herpes. This is what we're doing here. This is what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job. Continue to educate yourself about herpes. Find out, understand, maybe ask people, maybe join our support group. We have people join our support group that don't have herpes, but they're dating someone with herpes and they have questions. They want to know, like, what's it really like? So that might be a good thing as well. But here's something I'm gonna throw out there, okay? And this might be a whoa. Take intimacy off the table. Just take it off the table. Say, you know what? I really want to get to know you. I really want to spend time with you. I really want to date you. I really want to do all those things, but let's just take intimacy off the table and not have pressure for either one of us. That way we can get to know each other and we can see if this is where we want to move forward, both of us. When you take intimacy off the table, it allows us to think clearly. It allows us to be in the relationship clearly. It allows us to enjoy without the pressure. It sounds like when you're saying like it's stressing your body out. It was really stressing both me and my body out. Okay, that's not good. So when you take that pressure off yourself of like, hey, we're not going to be intimate. We're just going to date. Cool. Okay. So I think that's probably something that you should look at. The other thing that I want you to realize is that 2 out of 3 people have HSV1 and 1 out of 6 have HSV2. So you didn't specify what type she has. So I'm just trying to, you don't specify. So if you're on the call, let me know. She doesn't specify what type she has. Have you been tested? That's another thing. Have you been tested? Have you been tested for HSV? If you have not been tested for HSV, I would really encourage you to go get tested so that you can see where your status is at, because you don't know, you may have it as well. So many people are asymptomatic and don't show signs. So many people have no clue that they have herpes. Another thing to think about, John, is if you have a type of HSV, then you are less susceptible to picking up the other types. So for example, if you have HSV1, you're less likely to pick up HSV2. And that's something to consider. Again, I think that what you should do, I think you're saying you're thinking about reaching out and letting her know that what you really need is space and to slow down physically. I wouldn't give her space. I would just let her know. I'd say like, hey, girl, friend, baby cakes, hot stuff. I don't know what you call her. And just say like, hey, this is something that I have not dealt with. This is something I don't take lightly. This is something that impacts, future health, and I'm aware of that. I know that this conversation was really hard for you to have, and I want you to know how much I value that you had this conversation with me. This shows that you're you're a person of so much integrity, and that's something I really find attractive about you. I'm crazy about you. I'm wild about you. I enjoy our time together. I just want to take it slow, and let's just take intimacy off the table for now. And let's date and let's have fun. How does this feel for you? And see what she says. If she's like, nope, this doesn't work, it's either all in or out, then you also get your answer. If she's like, wow, okay, great, let's just see what happens. I think all these things are great. I personally feel that in today's world, we jump into bed way too swiftly, and that clouds our mind. Yeah, of course we all want that. It feels good. It's great. But get to know her and get to know what you want. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts or comments in the chat on this. Like, do you think that John should take off the intimacy? Do I have herpes? Yes, I have HSV1 oral and HSV2 genital. So if you have questions, we're doing anonymous questions today. It's $5. I'm answering like your deep, intimate questions. If you just heard, I just answered a great one from Ellie. I just answered a great one from John. So I do have the link pinned. It's bit.ly/ capital H for herpes, capital L for live. And you can ask your question. It's $5. And that's great. I have some supplements here that you guys are asking questions about. So the one that's pinned, let me just check, I forgot. So the one that's pinned is the immune support. And I was talking about that for John and I think Ellie, I can't remember. That's going to be an overall immune support. And of course, anything we can do to support our immune system is going to be the best thing. So if you don't have herpes, and you're trying to prevent herpes, as we all are, right? The stronger your immune system is, the better off you are going to be at preventing transmission. There are some there's lots of great ingredients in this that will also help boost your immune system. Things that I talk a lot about. We have lysine, we have zinc, we have vitamin B, vitamin C, and vitamin D. These right here are all immune system. Oregano leaf extract is super potent and very helpful. Olive leaf extract is super potent. We have elderberry, which is immune system booster. A lot of great things. This is great whether you have herpes or don't have herpes. But for the people, so for John who doesn't have herpes, I was talking about this. And then Ellie, you also don't have herpes. So this is also going to be something that's great. Cool. Let me see if any questions have come in. I definitely have more questions coming in. So, I have more questions that you guys submitted, but I just want to make sure that I am not missing any questions that have come in. All right, let's go to the next one. This is from Jake. Jake from State Farm. No, just kidding. This is from Jake. Jake said, I was just diagnosed with HSV this week. I don't know where I got it from. And I'm freaking out about how this might affect my life going forward. What do I do? Like, how do I approach disclosing this information to potential partners? Okay, a couple questions for you, John. And I'm sure that there's people on this call that have similar symptoms or similar concerns. Like you're just diagnosed and you're like, now what, right? Is this going to impact my dating life? Is this going to impact my future life? Is this going to impact how I go through life? A couple of things. Number one, not all of us know where herpes came from. Some of us may know because we may say, hey, I only had one partner, or I've only had, I was always tested and then I got it from you and my partner is tested positive. Like you may know. In Jake's situation, he's saying he doesn't know where he got it from. And that is very, very, very common, especially if it's years later. Jake, you also added that you have had multiple partners. Okay. So the hookup culture is something that is important to you. Okay. I'm also seeing that. Okay, cool. Something for you to look at. What's great is you have been tested and it's great that you now know your status. It's great that you know your status. I did a support group call with a famous musician, and he was like, what do I do now? And I was like, well, first of all, like it's physically impossible to sleep with everybody. Because he's like, I want to sleep with everybody. And I'm like, well, it's physically impossible, number one. Number two, like, do you really want to do that? And he's like, yes, I do. Okay, cool. I want us to look at the hookup culture. I want us to look at the one night stands. I want us to look at that. When we're having one night stands or we're hooking up, we're both putting ourselves at risk as well as our partner at risk, because most likely we're not getting tested in between partners. I'm just guessing, right? Especially if it's someone that we just met. What is going to be important for you, Jake, is to learn a little bit about your diagnosis, learn about your outbreaks, learn about like how often are you going to get outbreaks? If you were just diagnosed this week, you're not going to know. So I would spend some time personally to get to know your body, right? Am I going to get outbreaks every month? Am I going to get them once a year? Does my body feel different? I did an emergency call with a young man who was overseas, and he's like, I have so much nerve pain. I'm not getting outbreaks, but I have nerve pain. So like figure out your body and figure out your symptoms, figure out your triggers. Next, something I would look at, I would talk to your doctor about looking at an antiviral. So if you're going to be in the hookup culture, then I would look at an antiviral. I can't recommend this. I can't prescribe this. I'm not a doctor. But what the antiviral does is it lessens the transmission rate by 48%. So when it lessens the transmission rate by 48%, you're going to be protecting your future partner. So that's going to be one of the best things that you can do. Something to also remember, Jake, is I don't know where you got it genitally, but a condom only covers like a certain portion of our genitals. When we hear genital herpes, we think it's just like on, the area. And I'm using like rated G words because I don't want to get in trouble. But herpes can actually be anywhere in the boxer region. It can be on your butt. It can be on your hamstring. It can be on your inner thigh. It can be on your tailbone. It can be on your scrotum. It can be any of those locations. And so a condom's only going to protect just the area that you have the condom on. So I like to use myself as an example. Someone that has HSV outbreaks on my tailbone, a condom isn't going to necessarily protect our partners, right? So that's something to consider. Then next, I would work on you. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like you're scared, freaking out, you don't know what to do, oh my gosh, I'm going to get rejected, all those things? Or are you like still feeling confident about who you are? I would look at your disclosures. So when we disclose, it needs to come from a place of confidence. So if it's something that's going to be very casual, I would look at the disclosure. It's like, hey, I just want to let you know, I get tested often. I get tested every month. I get tested every 6 weeks. I get tested every 3 months, whatever it is. Let your partner know your testing status. I'm negative for these things. I'm positive for this. Do you potentially know your status? Are you getting tested? And of course, everyone say, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm clean, right? But let's be serious. And one of the things that's important is I know I have HSV2. Actually, 1 out of 6 people have it, and 90% of the people with HSV2 are 90% of the people with HSV2 don't know they have it. So that's a really important statistic to know. I think when you come with confidence in disclosing, I think that you'll be able to go forward with it. You can still hook up. You can still be part of the hookup culture. You can still do all these things. It's just one of these like preconceived notions that, hey, now that I have herpes, I can't do this. Well, that's completely false. If it's something that you want to do, you just have to disclose. And these are all things that we should have been doing. Let me make sure I'm bringing. Another thing I'm going to throw out there, Jake, and just throw out there, by no means am I suggesting it, just throwing it out there, is maybe you take a break from hooking up. Maybe you give yourself a break. I did a call last week with a young man in his early 20s in college, and he's like, I was part of the hookup culture. I was in it. And he's like, I was praying to God every night, like, please help me get out of this. I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know what to do. I just keep doing it because this is what I'm doing. And he got herpes. And he's like, okay, as mad as he was, he got herpes. God answered his prayer. So maybe I'm going to invite you to say, like, are you looking at something that maybe you want to change in your life? I just posted a lot on Instagram talking about going through a transformation. Maybe this is a transformation you've been asking for. Just throwing it out there. I'm just planting the seed. Just so you know, hey, you do your life, you do what you want to do. And there are safe ways to have hookups, even though we have herpes. People with herpes can still hook up. Okay, let me look at some of the comments because I want to make sure that the people are not on the call. El Charo said, I've got a question. How do I do a live with my girlfriend? If you submit your question here, I will answer it live right now. If not, you'll have to wait till the next live. And the idea, like, these are your juicy questions. I do a lot of like Q&A about herpes, but I really want to get into the deep, juicy ones. You don't have any cold sores, but my stomach sometimes hurts. Is that normal? Do you have herpes, or are you wondering? If your tummy hurts, that typically has nothing to do with, like, that's not like herpes doesn't cause tummy aches. There may be something else going on in your body. You may have some gut issues that these viruses kind of attack. What's nerve pain like? Nerve pain can be anywhere. So the herpes virus lives in our nerves, and it can be anywhere that goes down your back, goes in your sacrum. It can be just in the area that you have herpes. It can last for a day. It can last for a long time. It just depends on on every person being individual. Level up. Are you saying I'm not attractive? Are you saying I'm old? Okay. Thanks. Okay, cool. Let me get to the next question. I think I only have time for one more. Okay, Allison said she just got herpes. She's pretty sure she's like, I just got herpes. I suspect my partner is cheating on me. We're in a monogamous relationship, but it's new in the relationship. What do I do? I haven't told him yet. How do I even address this conversation? All right, I hear ya. Okay, Allison. So first of all, I'm really sorry you just got herpes. Hey, we all know what it's like, especially all of us on this call. Earlier, I think it was Ellie was asking me a question. I think it was Ellie. Like, did her partner cheat on her? Is that how herpes showed up? Herpes typically, the incubation period is typically within 2 weeks. It's 2 to 12 days, typically, right? But it can be in your body for a long time and then show up years later. So you could have picked it up at 20 and had a first outbreak at 40. Or you could have had herpes, known about it, and not told your partner. So Allison, we have a couple of things here. So step 1, 2, or 3. 1, your partner could have been cheating on you and just picked it up, number 1. Your partner could have had it and not known about it and just had a first outbreak and transmitted it to you unknowingly. 3rd, your partner did know that he had herpes and just didn't tell you, right? So either cheated on you and just got it, didn't know he had it, and knew he had it and just gave it to you. So there's 3 possible options for this particular situation. I think this is an opportunity for you, Allison, just to sit down and be real. Like, hey, what's going on? I need to sit down, let's talk. When I got herpes and I went to the guy that I got herpes from, I did the talk as soon as possible. I did the talk that day because that day you're in it. You're freaking out. You're shaking. You're pissed off. You're angry. You don't know what to do, right? The longer we wait to have this conversation, you've begun to heal your journey. So I hope, I'm trying to see if you didn't say when you got it. So I hope this is brand new. I mean, I don't hope it's brand new, but you know what I mean. I hope this is new, and I hope that you can go have a conversation with your boyfriend or partner or whatever in person today. Like, don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today. Call them up and be like, hey, let's get together. I want to talk, your place or mine, and have a long talk. And you just need to sit down and say, here's what's happened. Here's why either maybe I've been MIA, maybe you've been MIA for a little bit. Like, hey, this is what's happened, and I need to disclose to you what has happened. I was just diagnosed with herpes. There's a couple of options that could have happened. Like, I'd never have had an outbreak before. I could have picked this up before you. So don't put the blame on him first. You need to talk about you. We never want to blame. We never be like, hey, you gave me this. You want to say, like, this is where I'm at, and these are my feelings. I want you to know right now I'm really scared. I really feel alone. Can we talk about it? Can you help me answer some questions? Can we talk about it? I've learned that with herpes, the incubation period is typically within 2 weeks. So if this is something that's new for you, then you may have picked it up 2 weeks ago, or you could have picked it up a long time ago and never knew that you had it. So could I. I could have picked it up a long time ago and never knew I had it. Or 3, maybe you knew you had it and never disclosed. And of course, most people, if your partner knew that he had it, or she, but in your case it's a he, knew that he had it and never disclosed, then that partner has other shit going on that he's not able to digest. So I want you to give him a little bit of compassion. I'm not saying that it's okay. I just want you to understand that, like, he has his own demons going on in his head. And be able to just have a conversation. Ask, like, hey, have you cheated on me? Have you been with other partners? At this point, water's under the bridge. And I would just say, like, let's come clean. Let's talk. Let's talk this through, right? Especially if this is a dating situation. This is not a marriage. This is not you said that it's like a new relationship. So yeah, I would just have those conversations and find out. See what you can find out. The next thing you're going to have to decide is if you want to stay with him, if it's something you can get over. Resentment's a big deal. We talked a lot about the last 2 weeks in our support group call. Like, so if this is something you're dealing with, definitely join our support group call. We've been talking about it a lot. Asking about resentment. How do I get over my boyfriend giving me herpes? How do you get over it? Can you get over it? Absolutely. Do people get over it? Absolutely. Can you get over it? That's going to be up to you to decide if you want to get over it. Do you want to stay with this guy? But I think first, before we even go down that page, you need to have conversations with him and see where it's at. See how his reaction is. When I told the guy that I got herpes, he kicked me out of his house and called me a slut. Okay, that's not somebody you want to be with at all. This is going to be the smallest, biggest talk you have. There's a lot that happens in life, a lot that happens in marriages. This is going to be the smallest, biggest conversation. So how does this person react? Is he like, oh my gosh, how can I be here for you? Let's talk. Like, I don't think it was me. I don't think I have it. Is he like, yeah, I'll go get tested right now. Like, let's go. Is he like, dude, it's not me. Like, you obviously, but it's like blaming you, right? Like pushing it off on you. So these are all things for you to look at. I would love for you to follow up and let me know what happens post-conversation, especially if you want to join our support group and then we can all support you. That would be great. Gosh, I know. We had some great live Q&A today, guys. I really have enjoyed it. Whoa, I have 40 questions. You're saying, I don't know, if someone told me they had herpes before, I'd kick them out too. That's pretty harsh. So yeah, that shows that's where you're at. And I think that if you kick someone out for having herpes, the person that's kicked out should really evaluate that. What do you eat for herpes? I just did a post on it. It's like the most recent post if you want to look at it, what I eat for having herpes. I just talked about it, and I can talk more about that in another live. This one is specifically for the live Q&A, just trying to get you guys to open up a little bit more and ask your really personal questions. Alex got it 20 years ago, exactly from a girlfriend who didn't tell you. Outbreaks are minor and once a year. Why do you keep asking if Mexican people are saying that you're Mexican? Like, I have people from all over the world that are in my support group. It's a fabulous support group. I have people from, let's see, I had someone from Taiwan. I have someone from Africa. I have someone from Costa Rica. I have somebody from Brazil. I have people from Canada. I have people from the United States. I have people from all over the world in the support group. Yeah, C-dubs. Timmy Jean, that's funny. You probably get cold sores. Yeah, probably. Does it essentially break down your immune system years ahead? I don't know about that. I don't think it does. I think that there's a lot of other things that impact our immune system. Yeah, and disclosing you have herpes is not something you have like in the deed. It's something that you have a conversation with your partner about. El Charo, of course you're allowed in. Everybody's allowed in my support group. That's why I'm here. I'm here to support you guys. All right, my friends, I've gotten through the questions. I really appreciate you joining me. I want to know in the comments right now, do you like this Herpes Anonymous live setup format? Can you let me know in the comments right now? Because I want to do this. I want to support you guys the best way I know possible. And I do emergency calls. They are quite expensive. So I wanted to be able to get, and when I have those emergency calls, they're very juicy. They're very heavy. They're very like heartfelt. And I wanted to be able to provide the similar situation, but at a very affordable cost of just $5. And so let me know if you like this, if you like hearing these lives. You didn't even answer my question. So did you submit a question, Canal? Did you submit it to the bit.ly? I didn't see your question unless it just came in. Yeah, I didn't see your question come in, Kanal. Alex, you say you like it. You wish it was available 20 years ago. You're here to support others. That's awesome. The lemon person said I didn't answer your. So if you asked your question through the bit.ly, then those questions I answered. Today is about the Herpes Anonymous Live, meaning you submit your question and I'll answer it. These are not the questions that are through the chat. You're saying, how can you be sure you have herpes? I would get a blood test and see how the blood test comes back. I would also, what else? I get a blood test and see how that comes back. And if you have an actual blister, get that swabbed. Okay, my friends, I'm going to give, there we go. I just want to tap the screen just to say thank you. Thank you for joining me on the Herpes Anonymous Live Q&A today, February 28th, 9 a.m. I appreciate you all for joining me. Other than the 2 typos, okay, I have typos. Thank you for letting me know. Anonymous on the top is spelled wrong. Thank you. And embarrassed. Wow. I was going fast. Thank you for letting me know, Caitlin. I didn't even see my typos. All right. Thanks, friends. I will see you all soon. I appreciate you all. I'll see you in the next live. And I'll probably do a Herpes Anonymous live next week as well, so we can kind of get going on that. Other than that, I'll be answering your questions on live. All right. Bye, friends.